We'll go ahead and start. My name is Rusty Key, and I am the co-owner of an arcade in Houston, Texas. We have two locations, one in the Woodlands and one down in Webster, Texas, down by NASA. We've been running those arcades for about 12 years now. The gentleman to my right is Jim Austin. Jim is the inventor of the device we're going to talk about today, and it was Jim's experience that brought us to where we are and made us really want to make this happen. And to my left is Jennifer Swanson, and Miss Swanson is an attorney, and she is an activist for the disabled, and she works with families with disabled folks. I'll let you talk about that. Go for it.
Yeah, so my law firm's located in Katy. I'm a former special education teacher. I've been a parent-side special education attorney, so if you've heard a lot about the Department of Education lately, I practice under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and I have two toddlers, and one of my toddlers has autism and a speech delay. We met these folks last year, saw their presentation. It's a wonderfully inclusive device, and I'm excited for you guys to hear about it. It should be in all arcades, but my husband installed them on our pinball machines, and it allowed us not only to hold our toddlers and play, which is a parent experience, but for our toddlers with small arms to play. So really excited about for you guys to hear about this device. Diversity, equity, inclusion just means everybody's invited. That's all it means. So.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I'm really happy. Honestly, folks, we have not met face to face until we walked in the door. She walked in the door this morning. We've had some conversations over the phone. So we're very happy to have her here. And we love the fact that they're such supporters of the product that we've done. So, the first thing we want to do is, let me ask you a couple of questions. How many of you here have heard about our adaptive flipper controllers before today? How many of you have installed one? You got one installed back there? Cool. All right, good. And so the question that we really wanted to do, because we weren't sure how many folks the time slot's unique, and we didn't know if there was something specific you guys wanted to hear, or is there something that more in depth that you want to go into? What we can do is, one of the things we can do is kind of go in depth to the story of how we created the system and what it is and how it works. And then we can just go straight into how we actually install it and all the different options that we have. Or we can reverse those. Does it really matter? Does anybody have a preference as to which way you want to go? Okay. All right. Well, let's just run through what happened and what brought us here. Jim, where did you tell him your original history? What was your background before you came to the game? He was a technician at the Gameroom Preserve. So before you came there,
my profession was I was a communications systems engineer, and one of the projects I worked on, for instance, was I designed one of the largest private cellular networks in the world in Houston, Texas, the city of Houston. And it covers 620 square miles, and they run a lot of their systems across it, like automated meter reading, traffic lights, flood sensors, waste pump stations across that network. And it covers 620 square miles with 65 cell towers. So that was one of the projects. I've worked at NASA on different projects with shuttle missions. And so
you were in the Air Force?
I was in the Air Force for 12 and a half years. And I got out in 85 and worked in the private sector. I worked for British Petroleum for a while, running some of their networks. And so I've done a lot of things. And so I retired, and I was just at home doing what I wanted to and doing some consulting. And
which his wife would prefer to get him out of the house.
And so I was looking on Facebook one day, and there was a post on there that the Game Preserve was looking for a technician. So I thought, well, I've never touched a pinball machine, but I'm sure I can do it. So I talked to Rusty about it, and he hired me on the spot, and
That's where the mistakes began.
Yeah.
Now, so the gentleman's being really modest too. We actually have a certificate hanging in the preserve with a small flag about this size that was flown on one of the space shuttle missions because he had some design work with some Department of Defense stuff that he refuses to tell me about. But they gave him this flag. They gave him this flag that was flown on there. So he's really touched a lot of things. Jim came to us and he learned the pinball pieces, right? Learned how to do all that. And then one evening while he was there at the shop, he ended up having a small stroke. It's called a TIA, a transit ischemia. He had a TIA there. We got him to the hospital. His wife came, picked him up, took him straight to the hospital, and then he had his major stroke. And at that point, he was down for a few days, like down on the
I was in ICU on a ventilator for 4 days.
There you go.
So
It was pretty rough, so we're really glad. So it took a while of recovery, as anybody with strokes know. It takes a while to get back. And after about a year, Jim didn't call me. His wife called me and says, can he come back to work? He needs to come out of the house. He needs to do something. So we did. We said, absolutely, I'd love to have Jim come back. Never actually took him off the payroll. So come on back. And I said, you can be the eyes and the brains, and, my junior techs can do and learn from you, and that's what he did. Well, after he was back for about 2 months, he calls me in one day, and he's got a little thing. He said, I want to show you something. He's got a little thing like this in his hand, and he's got alligator clips into the pinball machine. And he goes, check this out. And now he's playing the flippers and making the flippers work on the pinball machine. And I go, wow, that's pretty cool. And he says, I said, now he said, I can test them now that I wasn't able to do. He says, but I want to do more with this. I don't want it just me. I know there's other people out there that are like me or that can't do this, and I want to do more with it. Well, Jim was a great designer, looked at a bunch of different things, but one of the things that we wanted to do was that we wanted to create something that wasn't just to plug into one machine. We wanted everything to all work, right? So we started experimenting. So Jim, that was like in February or so. The first time we took it was TPF here. So we brought it to the Texas Pinball Festival, and we had just prototypes. We were just figuring it out. We think we knew what we wanted to do. At that point, we were soldering these maybe before we found the other clips. We had these other clips. Yeah, we had the other
jack
clips.
already figured
The
out.
clips, yeah.
So.
Well, no, but I meant the non-soldered
Oh, no,
things.
I always did those.
We had those.
Yeah, I
beginning,
found
yeah.
those. I
So-
tried some different ones, but those work
These work better.
100%
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
time.
So we knew that we wanted to make it simple, easy, and not difficult to solder. No soldering involved on it. So we brought it to TPF. We showed it to people here. They thought it was really good. We then turned around and really worked through all the different parameters of what we wanted to do and what we wanted to build. And those parameters was really a much bigger thing than just, hey, we want to be able to hit the flippers with it. I'm trying to find here we go, wait, let me find anyway, we wanted to make, there were certain things we wanted to do. One, it needed to be safe. The way we were tying into the flippers, some pinball machines, most new pinball machines, it's 5 volts through the flipper buttons because they're in the switch matrix or whatever. But a lot of the old EM games, there's 40 volts. We have a Super Mario in there, and my thing, it's running 50 volts through the flipper switches. So, and the amps are being carried as well. So that was one of the parameters. It had to be safe. It had to have the switches capable enough to handle that level of voltages and amperages and things. And we wanted it to be able to work on any machine, all the different types of machines. And we wanted to be able to, all different types of people. And we'll talk about the different controllers here in just a minute. So we had a lot of different parameters that we did. So it took us about another 3 to 4 months for us to really work out what we wanted the design to do and how we wanted it designed in all the different components. At that point, we created a provisional patent. And we went in and we filed and we received a provisional patent on our device and kit as a whole. And so we ran that for a while. And then the next show was Chicago. We went to Chicago Expo, which is the big trade show, and we went and showed it there. And it was so cool because there was a lot of people. There's another group out of Colorado that has a similar device that does things. But we had them on the floor, and we had people playing with it, and we had a really good showing there, and we were really happy we introduced it there. We were really hoping at that show we would get some exposure, we would start selling these things, and people would start buying them. And it really hasn't taken off. So we're super happy you guys are here to listen to the story and listen to what we're doing, because we want this to continue. We want to try to help other people be able to play. I mean, all of you here, I imagine, been playing pinball for years. And imagine the day that you can't play pinball anymore. You have a stroke, you have we've had a guy had a motorcycle accident. We had a guy had a lawnmower came into my arcade. He had a lawnmower accident and lost half his arm. And he had brought his 9-year-old son in. He said, I used to play pinball all the time, and I want to play pinball with my son, and I can't show him how to do it. And he didn't know we had one of these. And I said, well, dude, I have got something for you. The man was in tears. He was so happy. He got to play with his 9-year-old son for the first time. That's the experience that we're looking for. Those are the people we're trying to reach out and grab, are those folks that may not realize they can play pinball again, or they've never played pinball before because they never could. And now we have that ability. And our device, while you can use it at home as these fine folks have, it's really more geared toward the arcades. We made these things cheap enough to where you can install them and easy enough into a bunch of machines. We have 30 pinball machines on average at our 2 locations, and probably 90% of them have these kits already in them. So they can play any machine from 1960 to 2022 just by taking their controller and moving from place to place and place. And that was part of the idea too, is we wanted to make sure we could hit all those different things. Let's talk about that kit right quick. So whenever you order a kit, you get a little sticker that says AFC installed, so people know which pinball machines they have it. And if you notice, it points this way. And if you think about a pinball and a coin door, we're sticking this on the coin door, it's pointing down to the lower right-hand side. Where's the power switch on all the pinballs, right? Lower left-hand side, except New Stearns, they're on the lower left-hand side. Well, on the lower right-hand side, there's usually nothing installed there. So we have it to where it takes a 1 1/8 inch drill bit, flat bit, and we drill through the bottom of the cabinet. And that was one of the parameters, is we didn't want to mess up the cabinets. If you have a nice collector's machine, you don't want a hole through your cabinet, through the front of your cabinet. So we designed it to where it would go through the bottom of the cabinet. The other thing that helps with is that by putting it into the bottom of the cabinet, you're tying into the wood underneath the cabinet, it gets this metal part, which is part of the grounding system of these things, it gets these away from people that's playing the machine. They're out of the way. They're not touching them. They're not reaching underneath the machine and touching it too. We had one gentleman try to install it in his coin door, but his coin door wasn't properly grounded. He had like his ground reverse, and anybody knows your 110, you switch them, they're really mess up the ground. He had it wrong, and he was getting a shock because he had installed it into his garage door. So by installing it into wood, it kind of keeps those away. So anyway, you get the sticker that says, hey, we installed it down here. The other main thing you get is this. And that's it. It's a female jack. It's really simple. It's got 3 screws. The screws are in there, everything you need to mount it. So you drill a 1/8 inch jack this side. And that's the longest thing you have to do, is drill a hole and melt this down. That's the hardest thing to do. Once you do that, there are 3 wires. 2 of them are bond stripped together. They're tied together, black and white type speaker wires, right? They look what they look like. And the black wire is always what? Ground, right? So the black wire, so what you do on your flippers is you simply find on the 2 flippers, you'll see a common color wire because it's ground. And the other different color wire on the 2 flippers, that's the flipper control. So all you have to do is tie this one into the ground on the left-hand side, and the red goes to the signal on the left-hand side. Then you have one more wire that's white, and it goes and ties, and it's longer, so it goes and ties to the right-hand side. Now the reason there's some reasoning actually behind that is that these plugs are all wired exactly the same, so that when somebody gets used to using a flipper and the black button is right and the red button is left, it doesn't matter which jack they plug into, it's always the same left and right. So if you have a custom joystick, or a custom one like this one is, your left flipper is the trigger finger and your right flipper is the missile flipper. So if you have special needs, you have, maybe your hands manipulated different, you have the ability to, when you move from machine to machine to machine, the flippers always stay the same. You don't have to worry about which different. Now, it's consistent. The other thing that we did, and Jim found these great little deals, and if anything else, you need to see these. These are little jacks. How many of you ever used the automotive jacks where you would squeeze them together and tie the wires together? That's what we started out with. We thought that was really cool. Well, these little guys work. Those things tend to come loose. They don't tend to make a good connection. These guys do it. You'll have to come and see them, but I'll show you. We have our whole booth over there. We show you. With these 2 little plugs, they work 99% of the time. They come in. If they don't, just unscrew it, put it back, and they don't come apart. They don't lose their connection. They work every time, and they handle the voltage and they handle the amperage that you have. They tie into the wire, so there's 0 soldering. So when you get ready to tie in, you tie into this one, and then you tie into the other one, and you're done. And we installed them, and we actually have an installation video on our website, less than 15 minutes. Less than 10 minutes, really. If you're really good at it, it's like less than 10 minutes. The hardest part's drilling that hole.
Yeah, it'll probably take you longer to do the first one just because you're learning.
Right.
But once you do it, it's...
How many did you install? Yeah, 5.
Yeah,
Was it easier to do the other ones?
It was probably easier to do the other
Yeah, it gets easier, right? But you see, this kit we sell for your pinball machine, $15. $15 per machine, and you get the whole kit, the sticker, everything you need to get it going per machine for $15. Our pricing point is pretty low because we're not out to make money on this. We're not out to be millionaires. We simply want to keep going, keep producing other products for the disabled, and this kit, $15. Now, some machines have multiple flippers, right? You have one here and one at the top, and there's actually, a lot of times there's 3 switches in there and they work like that for the multiple flippers. So we have a kit for that. And what this does is it just simply takes, so let's say the right-hand side is a single, you have a double flipper on the right-hand side, but not on the left-hand side. So all you do is we already got it tied in for you. You tie this into the wire coming from the kit. This goes to the front flipper, this goes to the back flipper, and there you go. So now your double flippers now work. One of the things we debated about for a while, trying to figure out how staged flippers work. How many of you actually use staged flippers play? Yeah, and that's one thing that does go away. We lose the ability to stage flippers because you just don't have that ability all the way back, right? But for the folks that never can't play at all, the fact they'll be going to stage flippers, probably not worry too much about that. But, and if you have, so on each side you have double flippers, you get one of these kits, which we sell $5. So, and it has diodes to keep the cross feed and things back between the two flippers. So there's $5. And so on a machine with one set of double flippers, it's a $20 deal. For machines with two, don't we sell two for like $250? We dropped the price on one or not? We might. And if you buy in quantity, you'll be surprised. We'll make you a deal. We really will. We'll try, because we want you to install these.
Like I saw one today, and they just gave the guy that.
Yeah.
He had a 3-flipper machine.
Just giving people away. How are we gonna make him? And it also comes with the 2 different clips. So you have everything you need in our clips to put this together. There is some other things we want to show you. I want to show you the different types of things. When Jim first did it, we were using these little buttons for coining up machines that didn't have free play. We put these on them, we're using coin, you press one button. Well, he just drilled 2 holes in it, and away we do. Well, we have them custom drilling, custom making these smaller boxes now, so a little bit smoother. But this works great for small hands, whether it's kids or whatever. And I've had several kids come in with a group. All their friends are playing pinball, but the one kid with his arm in a sling because he broke it 3 weeks before, couldn't play pinball. Well, we gave him one of these, and then he was kicking all their butts playing pinball because he really liked his little thing, and away he went. So you never know who's going to come in your door. So that's the kid one. And then we have it, you can see we smoothed around the box a little bit so it fits in your hand nice and smooth. And now you have an adult size, left and right. Now, a lot of people like the left and right with this on their fingers. We were talking about that a while ago. These 2 fingers for me work the same, right? Unless I'm doing something, picking my nose with one hand, these are gonna do the same thing. So I have a hard time making these 2 flippers work. So we came up with this one. So now I have a finger and a thumb. And now I know my brain handles the thumb is the right and the flipper and the missile is the left, right? So now I know which is which. It's easier for me on this one. As we were designing these and we were coming out with them, there was a gentleman in our pinballer group down there that has MS. And we've watched him over the years slowly lose his muscle control and muscle ability over the years. And he's lost his grip strength to really grip, so that pushing pinball buttons became really difficult. So we went to this. This is what we call our big box. And what we did, the reason we did this is that this big box, we put soft touch buttons on them. So all you got to do is lay your hands and it's just that easy. You hardly even feel it, but it doesn't take anymore. Now, you can even set your hand on it and just roll your hand a little bit, and takes no real muscle strength at all. So folks with MS now have that ability to play pinball. And then that one, when we were in the Chicago show, this guy came up and said, "Oh, I got one. I can help you with this." They're really long. But he used, what are those off of? Drum kit or something?
No, they're pedals for tattoo artists.
For tattoos artists to play their game. They run their little machine, right? And it can handle the amperage. Well, they're foot pedals. So now if you have someone that has no upper ability at all, but they can use their feet, you now have, and every one of these different configurations, same plug, same configuration, same thing. That's what we're trying to do. We would love to find someone to partner with us to help with 3D printing of more hand capable, smoother, workings, more of this type of stuff. We bought these, and,
I buy them from China.
yeah, so so it really doesn't.
$4 is our cost.
Right, but if we could find somebody that could help us with the 3D printing of those things, it would be fantastic for us to do that. So installation's super easy, doesn't take, matter of fact, I brought 9 machines today. 3 or 4 of them have the flipper controls already installed, and we're gonna install them in all the other machines before this show is over. So if you wanna come and see one, we'll actually install one there. Now, I've been talking a whole lot, and I wanna turn it over. I've kind of left Jennifer sitting here. So now you've heard our story, you heard what we're trying to do, and what I really would like to do is kind of get some thoughts from you and let you speak a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think, I mentioned that I practice under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and one of the parts of the statute is one of my favorite because it says disability is a natural part of the human experience and in no way diminishes the right of individuals to participate in and collaborate in society. And that's so important. And what I love about sitting next to smart engineers is that they can bring those words to life, right? This is the practical application of everyone can participate. And that's so important. And we talk about public facilities are supposed to provide reasonable accommodations. And a lot of times when I talk to folks, they're like, I don't really know what that means. This is an example. This is a reasonable accommodation. One of the things that I like to talk about when we talk about the importance of the Americans with Disabilities Act is how including everyone helps all of society. So I don't have a disability, but I became a mom 4 years ago, and I have to push a giant double stroller with toddlers in it. So the ramp that is not there for me helps me, right? So I don't have a disability, but at some point in the next couple of years, it's not unlikely that I will or I won't. Disability comes on temporarily or permanently, and so that's the importance of what they're doing here. We talked about that. The gentleman that he mentioned who'd lost his arm in a mowing accident is able to connect with his son in a way that he wouldn't have been able to for $20, right? 15 if it's not a triple flipper, if I'm understanding.
Right.
My husband's gonna roll his eyes. This is literally the first time I've understood anything about the mechanics of putting a pinball machine together. You're a very good teacher. No offense. But that's why it's so important, right? That's why I'm excited to get to share the stage with these folks. We do completely different things, and our paths would not cross but this is an opportunity for folks in arcades to include more people, to bring more people in. I think Rusty was saying, part of the problem is finding people to come and participate and try these out, because a lot of people have already decided, oh, I can't play pinball, I have a mobility issue, I've lost a limb, and yet they just told you can play with your feet if you need to. There's quite a bit of beauty in that. So I can talk more about it. I don't know that this is necessarily a legal conversation, but this is the practical application of reasonable accommodations. This is what including everybody looks like. And it's not some big fancy word or somebody out in Washington making up big words. It's just making space for everybody, coming up with practical solutions for foreseeable, unforeseeable events. It is foreseeable that we will have disability. It is unforeseeable which one we will have, right? But this is, that is currently my contribution, unless there's something else you need from me.
No, that's great. So there are a couple of things I do want to find. Do the folks that come in, do y'all have arcades? Do you own an arcade, or is it just home use? Just home use? Okay, all right. One of the things I want you to do is tell your arcades, where do you go play pinball? Tell them about us. Tell them about the Adaptive. We'll give you cards and stuff. Let them know, because we want to reach those arcades. The other thing that we have is besides this graphic, we also have a little graphic that we came up with that Blake helped us design. It's called, and it's a little graphic that says Pinable. And basically we're saying our pinballs have the ability now to be played by the disabled folks. So we now have a little graphic that you can include on your website. When we talk about for me, besides the fact that I love the fact that what Jim has done, and it's affected our arcades so much on a personal scale, the other arcades have installed it and have seen that they get more community support. When somebody comes in and I tell them about, they've never seen our arcade, and they see these stickers all down the front of our pinball machine that they've never seen before. And we have a poster on the front door that says, you know, we are pin-abled and we have ability for the disabled to play pinball. You know, we have these things. That's a huge community outreach, and you can get community support. You can reach people that wouldn't normally come into your arcade, and the people that you will find that people that come in now know you have this will invite those people that have these disabilities to bring them in. So putting them into your arcade, absolutely you will get double your money back almost instantly. It won't take, because if you have 20 machines that you're going to put in $15 or even $20 things, that's what, $400? $400, and your whole place is now, your 20 machines are now pin-abled. And these controllers, $30. So less than $500, you now have an outreach and a customer and a community support that you may not have had before. You know, so for arcade, we believe it's a profitable thing for you. It's an easy thing to install. What we've done, and the reason that most of our machines, or not all of them are, is because the ones that don't have it hadn't broke yet. Because basically, when the machines break enough that they have to actually lift the play field and do something, and if it doesn't have one of these, they just grab a drill a hole, put it in, connect it up, and they're done. So they do it and expand the machine. Or we get a new machine in and we haven't installed them yet. So
You should probably say something about pinball charity.
Oh, yes. How many of you heard Project Pinball? Project Pinball, and we did this twice. Project Pinball, they collect money, they raffle off pinball machines, they take donations, and they buy pinball machines and local maintenance on those pinball machines, new ones or used ones, and put them in children's hospitals. So we had done that a couple of years ago. We put one pinball machines at the Children's Memorial Hospital in the Woodlands, Texas, and we put the other one down in the Herman Memorial Children's Hospital in downtown Houston as well. They have these, what they call Life Center games for the kids, or playrooms for the kids to go into. The pinballs are the biggest hits there. They love them. And when we had come out with these after we did the Project Pinball, like 3 or 4 years later. Well, now if you go to our website, you can pay, so this and this is $35. You got a controller and a kit, one machine plays. You can buy a $35 kit and tell us what it's for, and we will give it to Project Pinball, and they will put it in some children's hospital where the kids are playing. Because you can imagine, there's kids with IVs in their hands or their broken arm or whatever. These kids are dying to be watching all their friends play pinball, and they can't play because they have this issue. So $35, go to our site and we will do that. And go to Project Pinball, bid on their raffle of their machine, and make donations to Project Pinball. I can't say enough about Project Pinball. They are a great group. They're a great organization. They've done 200 and something pinball machines across the nation. Every year he does a drive across the United States. Love Across America is what he calls it, and he puts in pinball machines all over children's hospitals, all over the country. So it's not a local place, it's all over the things, and we can put these into the kids' hospitals. So if you wanted to make that donation and do that. Oh, one other thing too I want to mention, our provisional patent has expired. You only have a year to change your provisional patent to a real patent. It's $10,000 to move our simple provisional patent to get a full patent. In order to go through a patent attorney, he says the cheapest we can do this, even trying to help you out, is $10,000, because it's just that many hours and that much work. So then we were talking about, he says, well, why you want a patent anyway? And I said, well, I don't want people go out there and make these things and then charge huge amount of number, and they get the patent, and then they make it unaffordable for things for other people to do. And he said, well, it's easy. Just put it in the domain, the public domain. Just don't expand your provisional patent. If you don't continue it, because it's been a year, it's now in the public domain and anybody can do it. So that's what we've done. We've released it. It's it's now in the public domain. Anybody can create these and do these, but that's okay because it's going to cost. We're not making any. We make a buck or two, maybe.
We make a buck or two
that's
because
it.
we have
really
to pay somebody to put them together.
Right.
So that's really
Yeah.
all we're charging.
So
And we're not making what you would
Absolutely.
call a profit on it.
yeah,
So you could do it yourself, probably for a little less, but your time
Yeah.
and energy.
one of the other things we found out too is interesting. We found out once we did this and we brought it to the show here, we brought it to Chicago. People come up all the time. Oh yeah, so and so did that a few years ago. Oh, so and so brought a machine a few years ago and showed that off, and so. They never really pushed it, and it all just dies. They never really push it, and that's our biggest challenge, and the challenge that we put out to the folks that come and see us is to help us. Tell your local arcades, tell people, man, you got to go see this. Put it in your machine. It doesn't hurt your machine. You don't see it on your fronts. It's underneath, and it doesn't. So, questions for anybody up on the panel? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, say again. So we reached out to Stern. Okay, Dad, let me repeat to it. The question he had was, have we done anything, what work have we done to the pinball manufacturers to get this implemented at the factory level before, as the machines come out? So we talked to Stern at the Chicago show, and we talked to Jersey Jack, and we talked to a couple of the other ones. Most of them kind of have their own direction they're going with this kind of disability. Some of them will say, P3, the metamorphic guys, they have multiple buttons on one side. You can configure that so that you can run both flippers using those buttons. And they weren't really interested in the thing. Stern wasn't interested in putting our jacks into, because this is cheap. Just stick this into the thing, wire it in, and it's all solid part of the thing. Stern wasn't interested because they're kind of going their own direction. They were actually at Chicago show. They were talking about how they were going to have a phone app to do it. Barrels of Fun with Labyrinth. Now they're down in Houston. We actually have had ones installed on that machine. We saw it work, saw it played. It works great, as expected. Their thing is, if somebody calls us up, if somebody requests this to put in one of their machines, we will more than happy to put it in. But it won't be in every machine that goes out because...
It'd be like an option.
Yeah, because this is probably, it would add $4 or $5 to their production cost. And when you're making 1,000, $4 or $5, that's $4,000 or $5,000. That adds up, right? So, yeah, we tried, and we thought that would be great. We thought, man, we get this, we get them started. We wouldn't have to. All we have to do now is sell controllers because it's coming out. Couldn't get it to go. Couldn't get it to fly. But thanks for the question. That was certainly something that we tried. Anything else?
And I want to say, design-wise, it's just a simple switch. So anything that works with a switch can be integrated into the controller. So like a person that has to use a suck and blow machine that doesn't have any ambulatory at all, they can use that suck and blow machine that will do flippers. Even they can play pinball.
Yeah, we were
So there's
talking
really no limits
right.
to your imagination about how this can be integrated for any type of individual that has a problem.
We even turned around and Jim came up with a wireless app to do it, where you could do it with a wireless
you can stand across
controller
the room and play.
But the problem there is you've got lag.
Yeah.
And pinball, you can't
A little
have
bit of lag.
A little bit of lag, but a little bit of lag.
If you play with it, you can compensate for it.
Yeah, once
Your brain will compensate for it, and you can play. It's just a very tiny bit of lag.
Yeah, we always figured too, the people, if we ever did one for the sip and puff, for them to which is the right term, the sip and
That's what
puff.
they call it. Yeah.
Yeah, that sip and puff. We always figured, though, if we ever come up with that, what's going to happen is the guy playing is going to hyperventilate trying to play pinball. So that, at least I would probably. So, but anyway, we haven't gone to that, but it could be something that we could. Like I said, we did.
And I have my latest customer is a guy in Wisconsin that is an IT professional, and he started having funny feeling in his left hand, and so he got diagnosed, and he had brain cancer, and so he went to Colorado and they operated on him, and when they operated on him, he lost the left side of his body. So he's like me now. His right side is non-functional. So he bought one of these controllers from me, and he has what's that? I always forget the name of it. A Funhouse. He has a Funhouse pinball that he owned, and now he's playing that
he
again.
Lost.
So.
Yeah. So if you know somebody that has it, you have things, send them our way. Come by and check out the thing. We're going to be installing these in and out. You want to say, hey,
Yeah,
come
just
over
put
and
the
I can-
word out.
Yeah.
That's all we're
Yeah,
asking.
that's what we
Just
wanna do.
proselytize it to people you might know, and kind of spread the word.
Anything?
I mean, I can always talk about diversity and inclusion.
So if anybody has questions for Jennifer, you're more than welcome to ask those too. We have, another 30 minutes, 20 minutes?
18 minutes.
18 minutes. So if there's anything else, any questions for her, by all means do that. Are y'all here for the whole show? Are you here for today or
No, we're here for the weekend.
for the weekend? Oh, okay. Y'all just dump the kids somewhere?
Grandparents.
Grandparents? That's always good.
We brought them 2 years ago, and it was the worst weekend of my life.
I bet. So any other questions, anything else? Folks, thank you. I really appreciate y'all coming here and listening to what we have to say. If there's any questions or you see anybody that has that, send them. Even people in wheelchairs have found that our device, because they can't get right to it, can sit back. Yes?
What's the best way for people to get in contact and find you guys? For the people on the internet watching.
So we actually bought the domain adaptivegameproducts.com, and we have gamepreservehouston.com. It's all on that same thing. Those websites would be the right way to do that. You can actually just Google us, and you will find it out there. Or go.
You can find it on Facebook.
Yeah, we're on
Under
Facebook.
Adaptive
We do all our
Game
posting.
Products.
Yeah, we do most of our
So you
posting.
can pretty much get us anyway, and I always tell people when I sell it to them that if they have any issue with it, to please call me directly.
Yeah.
So I talk to all the people I've sold it to if they had a problem and sorted it out.
I think
with
you
them.
just want to talk to them.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, what is pinball if it's not about connecting?
It is. It really is. It's the connection. We actually have tournaments in ours, and that's the other thing too. Tell your tournament guys. Are you playing tournaments? Tell them to put one of these things in their machines and have a tournament with these, and make everybody play one game with one of these. It changes. It does two things. One, it's like, oh, that's kind of neat. But what it also does, it makes them understand that being disabled is difficult. And a lot of people don't realize until you work around someone that's disabled and have somebody with it, sometimes you just don't realize. And it takes something like this to go, wow, this is what we need to do for other folks. It's already difficult. Their life's difficult enough.
yeah, I find I spend a lot of my time figuring how to do things one-handed, because you don't realize how much you use two hands till you don't have one. Like tie your shoe, put deodorant under this arm, or cut a steak without it going across the table. It's so you learn how to do that. So you would find things that let you adapt to it. So it's a process.
Yeah. Well, folks, thank you again for coming out. Anything else?
No, this is something special. It's worth telling your friends about.
Yeah, it's great. We appreciate your support. We really do. Thank you, folks, for coming out. Appreciate it. Thank you. Well, now we just pack all this up and take it back over there and see if we can.
Okay.